Good morning.
Good morning.
Lisa,
Who was that?
this is Susan.
Hey, Susan. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Lisa told me you're not a text person, but I sent you a text yesterday of my first Vitamil experience. So,
Well, thank you for that. One problem is that I very seldom look at, there's so many texts that they just distract me, so I don't even look at them. So thank you for that. I will absolutely look at that. Thank you.
you're welcome.
If anybody needs anything ever from me, don't text me, just call me. Because at least I know it's there. And if I can answer, I'll answer immediately. But text, I mean, they just accumulate and they're too many. I apologize for that.
No worries.
But congratulations. I'd like to see what happened with the Vitamil. Good morning, Lisa. See you there too.
Good morning, sweet Lawrence.
And Lori, Jim,
Good morning.
good morning. Chris, I see you there. Okay, and here we go. I think we're ready to rock and roll. So let's start. So good morning, everybody. If you could put yourselves on mute so that it doesn't distract this one-track minded guy. And it is the 20th of March. Morning, Ripples.
Good morning. Would you
So,
like us to go ahead and co-host for you?
yes, okay. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, thank you. Do that. Yeah, okay. Make co-host. Okay, you're co-hosted. Thank you. Um, so today, I'd like to talk a little bit about, I saw actually that Robin Fields had mentioned something about doing something about the compound effect with Daryl Hardy. and I've been
Slaughterhouse.
I've been a very fervent follower of Darren Hardy. Sorry, Jim, you said?
The slaughterhouse of failure is not in my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. Or the slaughterhouse of failure is in my destiny if I quit.
Thank you, sir. There's the mantra. There it is. Thank you. So that's Augmandino modified a little bit. So I've always talked about the compound effect because I've had the view that, you know, it's better to work towards a big goal, even if it takes time, rather than having, you know, um, small compensations of finance. Rather, let's look for the big goal. So what I thought I'd do today is I'm going to show you something first. Is a little, I love the School of Hard Knocks. It's on, I think, Instagram or Facebook. And the person is, I think he's really, really good. So I'd like to show you that if I may first. So let's go back to Zoom here. I don't know why I got out of that. And I'll go into here. And I'm just going to play this and tell me if you can see my screen. 1 second. Okay, hold on. 1 second and share screen. And this is what I'd like to show you. And this is about the verbiage of what this is, what these people are saying. So can you see my screen? Okay. Yes, can see anybody?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
No sound.
No sound. Hold on. Where is this damn sound? Here.
Yep.
Here we go.
Many billions of dollars. Yeah. Yeah. You know what the secret is? What's that? I learned this the hard way. As an entrepreneur, you need to know this. Three things. One, cash. Cash flow is critical to any business. It's your oxygen. Number two is communications, because we don't do this on our own. We have a team, and if the team doesn't understand where you're going, they can't execute. And then the third, it's probably the most important, character. In times of trouble, you are going to be tested. Character is what will ultimately separate a winner from a loser.
This is a masterclass right here.
It's absolutely a masterclass.
Now, among yourself and the most successful CEOs in the business world, what's that one trait they all have in common?
Fearlessness. It's the ability to walk up to somebody and be able to transact without any fear.
How important were relationships for your success?
Relationships are everything. It took me almost my entire career to realize that the most valuable resource of any company is the human resource. And yet we take that for granted so often. Your team is critically important to your success.
A lot of people say that you can't get rich working in the corporate world. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
Why?
I think that the corporate world, most people are not cut out to be entrepreneurs.
You don't think everybody's built for entrepreneurs?
Not everybody is an entrepreneur.
The richest people in the world that I know read a ton of books. What was the number one book that changed your life?
You know what the strongest book I read in business was?
What's that?
The Boy Scout Handbook. Sounds crazy.
I'm an Eagle Scout. You know
Are you any? Yeah, that's right. That's
Are you
right.
an Eagle?
No. I made it to life. But go back to the Boy Scout Handbook. A scout is, and I know you know this, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent. And if you think about those principles, those elements of scouting will serve you well as a leader, whether you're an entrepreneur or running a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah.
It absolutely works.
You got amazing advice, my friend. Hey, I connect with all the billionaires I interview. Could I get your contact?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What's the
Okay. So I wanted to play that because that was a person that sold 7-Eleven, and it takes years to build a business. And we're looking at the long term. So the next thing I'd like to show you or talk about actually is the story of Honda. Let me come to that a second and get my notes out here. Here we go. So, so basically, what we're talking about, Jenny, I'm going to come to the Honda in a second, but the thing is, don't be afraid to ask for advice, for help, for guidance. You know, our ego gets in the way many times, and we hesitate to ask for advice or opinion or something. But and I'm absolutely one of those that have historically have kind of been a bit embarrassed about asking for something I should know. So the big thing is keep the focus in mind of the end result. We always talk about focus on the end result. What are we trying to achieve? Be accountable to yourself and to those around you. Take full responsibility for everything that you're in. So, you know, I have this little band about no more excuses. And if we take accountability and we don't blame anybody else, then we are in control of what we are doing and what we want and how we do it and when we do it and so on. So it becomes it's upon us to guide ourselves every morning. I always talk about give yourself a high five. Start with a high five in the morning. Give yourself a high five in the mirror, and start off with gratitude and appreciation and so on. But be positive about what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Excuse me. So discipline over instant gratification. That's the big thing. We always, in the States, I've talked about this many times. In the States, we look at, I mean, not the States, it's the capitalist system. We want something immediately. We invest some money, and by the end of the month, we want to know how much we made. Well, in other ways of thinking, it's a long-term venture that we're into for bigger prizes. So our business is about the long game. And we're looking, that's the idea of this. Little things that came about when I was thinking about all these things is, Jim Rohn says, don't wish things were easier. Work towards being better. Don't wish things were cheaper. Make it happen to make more money. So those are just little things. But here's what I wanted to talk about with the Japanese Honda company. The Japanese mentality is something that I've always admired because they're very, very disciplined. They're very community oriented as well. So there's a man called Soichiro Honda. And after the Second World War, he was, Japan was a mess, but he had a vision. He wanted to build an affordable, reliable transportation for everyday people. So he started attaching little engines to bicycles to help get around cheaply. This is the Honda company of today. So we're looking at 50, 60 years ago. Well, maybe a bit more. Oh, I guess it's 80 years now. But so he started building these little bicycles. And then that evolved to motorcycles and cars that he eventually sold worldwide. He refused to quit even after failure. He failed many, many times. He applied to Honda to get a job. He got rejected. His factory was destroyed twice. He had very little money and resources. He kept going, rebuilding again and again. And he never quit. Consistency, small improvements over time. Honda didn't, Honda is a world brand. It's one of the biggest car companies in the world. But it took years of blood, sweat, and tears, if we call it that way. Improving engine designs,
You told me to talk about.
Sorry, hold on.
Yeah. So it's only.
Hold on, who's this? Sorry, could you put yourself on mute, somebody? I completely gone.
I took care of it.
Went down a rabbit hole here now. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that you've got to be very, very focused on what it is you want, because we're going to be lots and lots of hiccups on the way. And it's the long-term mindset. That's the point I want to make today. It's a long-term mindset. So I'd like to show you something here, and I'm going to share my screen. So let's go back into here and share my screen. And this is what I want to show you. This is what the actual mindset is all about. I hope I get the right one. Can you see my screen? Can you see what it says here on just to help a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the real compound effect in action. And I want to show you this really clearly because this is what it's really all about. So this is the story of the penny. If on the one side here, I say to you, okay, would you like to have $3 million? Let's just put here $3 million as an example. $3 million. What's that? 1, 2, 3, slash 1, 2, 3. $3 million, million, one missing one zero. $3 million. Or would you like to have 1 penny to double for 31 days? So let's put here 3 million. 1 penny to double for 31 days or $3 million. What would you prefer? $3 million? Let me show you after a week of having a penny. A week. Here it is. Let's look at this. A week of having the penny would be 1 penny, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 cents after 7 days. Or $3 million. What do you want? People will say $3 million. Okay. 64 cents. The next week, 7 days, $1.28, 256, 512. Eventually, on the second week, after 14 days, it's $83. $83 after 14 days, or $3 million. Third week, double the penny, 83, 167, $10,700. That's 21 days. 28 days, 1,374,000. But then 29, 28, 29, 30, 31 days, 10,900,000 from 1 penny doubling for 31 times. That is the compound effect. And I want to show it in another way also. Think about this. We're talking about 5 people multiply, get 5 more. That would be in the first week, you worked that, and by the second week, you got 25 people. If those 25 multiply by 5, the third week, you got 125 people. The fourth week, in a month, you got 625 people. That's in the first month. If we do that just by 6 months only, you got 3,700 people, 750 people in 6 months. If each one of those just does 2,000 points, $2,000, not even 2, that's 7,600,000 sales. But watch what happens if you don't do that. Let's say you do 2 people. Still not bad, but watch this. 2 people, first week, that's 4 the second week, 8 the third week, 16 the fourth week. If you do that by a year, 12 months, you got 192 people. By 2,000, that's only $384,000. So look at the subtle differences between 5 and 2. So ideally, we work towards 5, the bigger goal. This is the Honda goal. The goal is to look at this. And we should focus on that and understand that this is the compound effect. We talk about get 5, and just multiply those, and that's how it goes. That's a figure that should be impressed on everybody, in my opinion. So I'd like opinions, please. Anybody want to make some comments?
Hi,
Well,
Lawrence.
go ahead.
Oh,
Comments? Go ahead. You had a couple of people going to answer.
okay. No, hi. I think this is wonderful. Also, if you not only take it by itself, I mean, if you, for example, you read a book and you say, oh, a book it's a lot, but if you read only, instead of reading 10 pages per day, you read 11, in the compound effect, it will be a lot of pages more per year than other people. Also, if you making phone calls, if you do one more each day, you will have 300 more calls than the other people. So the compound effect is, I love it because it's doing little changes in the activity. It produces an incredible outcome.
Fantastic. Thank you, Martin. In fact, that's something interesting because it's a little bit more each time. So if we were to do, let's say the goal is 5, but instead of 2, if you do 3, the difference is going to be massive. We can do that as well. So a little bit more every day
Hey,
and quantify it. Go ahead, Jim.
um, I was just going to say, trying to put this in the context of building a new skin distributor business. I think I always think of Nathan Ricks. And Nathan, I think, made well over $100 million just from new skin alone. He used his real estate skills to grow that into $1 billion. But when I'm out meeting with people and building the business, I'm focused on two things. One is to try to help as many people as I can with the assessment to help them understand this really critical measurement to improve their health. In that process, I'm always thinking, certainly want to put as many people on subscription as possible, but I only need 6. But what are those 6? Those 6, each one of those individuals, I need to pick out to be a partner of mine that are going to do what I do. They're going to take the business as seriously as I do. And you do that, then they will duplicate because they're going to do the business as serious as you do. And this process of duplication then starts to really work. So it's the basic 6, and then your 20 to 30 customers, and you've got what will grow into a great business. Now, Nathan didn't stop at 6. He ended up, I think, having 42 brand reps in his front line. But the fact of the matter is, how many of us are going to quit bringing in new people? Once you find someone even better than you, you're going to want them on your front line. So more than 6 is not bad, but all you really need are those 6.
With depth.
Correct. But that's what
Because,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Those 6 have to meet that criteria of being equally as business oriented and wanting to grow a business as you are. Then they will duplicate. And in their duplication, they'll do the very same thing. They're going to find those 6 serious people. Now, there's only 8 billion people in this world. So we have a limited number to work with.
You're right. Thanks, Jim. Actually, on what you've said, I want to also comment something. Thanks to where we are with the prism. This week, I've been to 3 different hospitals doing assessment with the prism, scanning the doctors and the nurses and so on. And it's been an eye opener because depending on the hospital, where the location and where the demographics of that hospital, the nurses generally all, well, most of them scanned in the red and in the orange. But I was able to I was able to make a challenge or create a challenge by departments to say, well, the people that came from the department of, for example, anesthesiology, the four nurses that came from there were actually higher than the department that is in the ER. And they, oh, really? Yeah. So I said, okay, we're going to make a competition. So here we go. You've all got your scores. You all know where we are. So I'd like you all to look at getting some kind of supplement. It's $3 a day. But in 90 days, I'm going to come back and scan everybody and see how we do. But we're going to make this into a competition. So that little prism is an incredible valuable tool. Incredibly valuable because we made it fun. It was a fun day of scanning people, comparing, and then the others would bring another one. And what did you score? And what did I score? And what did they? And it was a fun day of having people engaged in their health. And in each one, I would say, have you got kids? Yeah. How old are they? 7 and 9. Okay. So how do you incentivize them to eat well? Well, that's been a problem. Right. Well, here's a solution. So remember that we are solving people's problems. We're not just trying to sell anything. We want people to buy rather than us sell. It's a big difference. And the multiplication of this is key to what we're doing. And it's this compound effect. There it is. There are the numbers. I had them on the screen there. And it's you start with just a little bit and then multiply that. And make it fun. Make teams. Your each brand rep, each leader of your team has a team. And those teams are the ones we're working with as a team. And that's what the first little clip we had, with the guy from 7-Eleven. He said, you've got to have a team. And the team's really got to work. This is what it's about, teamwork. We're paid, incentivized to make the people in our team successful. Anybody?
How would you say it was a very creative thing to do? And Lawrence, you always come up with these creative approaches. That'll take a little work, but my gosh, imagine the numbers of people that are involved, and that after 60 days, you will have totally opened their eyes.
Thank you. That's, this is one thing that's important. And I was saying to the nurses on the airplane, the flight attendant tells you to put oxygen on you first before your kids. And I used to think that was asinine. It's ridiculous. No, it's not. It's absolutely fundamental. If you don't help yourself first, how the hell are you going to help anybody else? And that's part of also feeling the self-esteem. I say about the pains that we have. I'm saying pains is money, it's time, it's stress, it's self-esteem. If you feel good about yourself, you're going to keep improving. If you feel bad, you're just going to go down, down. So try and think about that as well. You got to feel good. That rubs off. Lisa, good morning.
I like how you gamify it too, right? And create these goals and try to overachieve yourself. Like I learned that in golf. The person I'm trying to beat is myself last time,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. And just as a by the way, it's not about me, but every time somebody scanned really low, which was most of the time, they said, well, I don't think that machine is correct. And I left their information, I put my finger on it, and I'm at 890. And they said, oh, what do you do? I said, I'm telling you, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm trying to show you. Oh, well, okay, sign me up. That was the first thing.
Yeah, and you just touched on something too that I love about the new scanner. You can do an open scan. You're not putting any information in there. You're just hitting next scan. So it doesn't know who it is. It's completely agnostic. It's simply measuring.
Exactly.
You know, Lawrence, with the new Prism, this little guy,
Yeah.
I was going to the dentist this morning and my wife, Donna, said, be sure and take your scanner, you know.
Yeah.
So it's hooked on my hip in a tiny little carrying case. And I scanned the dentist, I scanned a shadowing student in school, and also the med tech, all three.
Fantastic. Mine's
And
actually
all three have an interest, you know.
yes. Lisa, thank you. Good thing. I was going to show you my key ring. Here it is. Mine's on my key ring. Here. Here's my car key.
This
And
is the
there's
famous Mike Cook carrying case.
yeah, there it is. The Mike Cook carrying case. Lisa
And
Malone, yes, ma'am.
the purple goes for the people that have the purple scanners.
That's right. The first 300.
That's right.
We're right there with the 300 Greeks that, no, never mind.
Lisa, you had your hand up.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lawrence. Just really great comments. So I didn't want to interrupt. But the compound effect, that book, I just wanted to digress to something you said, Lawrence, by Darren Hardy. And that book to me, well, there's two. And they were the first two that Scott recommended. And he recommended it when you're starting out in this business. And of course, I've been here 5 years. But I found them to be very valuable. That was the business of the 21st century, just because he talks about what we're doing every day in that book. But the compound effect for me is really relative to this call and what you do, Lawrence, because it's about our own personal mindset, our own personal self-development. Because honestly, and I love all these ideas and, you know, the business model and then how we can, you know, bring on more people. But if we won't attract them, if we don't work on our own mindset. And so I got a lot out of that book. I just finished it, The Compound Effect. Every chapter had amazing pearls to me for personal development. So I highly recommend, if you have a highly motivated entrepreneur, and have them read that book. I mean, I'd love to see us do, you know, rotating, to me, on those two books, just rotating classes. Start one, finish it, start it, because the wisdom is invaluable, timeless. So they both have helped me a lot. Just wanted to share that. And it goes into your call, Lawrence.
Thank you.
I'll comment on that as well, Lisa. I mean, that it really hit home with me when I read that book a few years ago. But I also plugged it into the mindset of this business. And I heard a great example of this the other day. You know, would you rather have, and Lawrence has gone through this with the penny that doubles every day. That's a different way of looking at it. But you know, would you rather have $1 million or $10,000 a month? Really? A lot of people say, give me the $1 million. Well, we know from statistics, historically, people that win the lottery, majority of them are broke in 3 to 5 years. The money's gone. They have a pile of money, they go through it. But when you have a river of money, even though it's smaller per month than $1 million, it's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there next month. It's going to be there next year. So would you rather have $1 million or 10,000 a month? And there's no reason to limit yourself with 10,000 a month based upon what we've been talking about. Get your 10,000 a month in cash flow and just continue to peck away at that with the compounding effect, get to 20 to 30. And it's much better than having a one-time payout of $1 million.
Absolutely. By the way, there's a documentary about Nike, and I saw it some time ago. You've just mentioned something, Michael, which is, I think, extremely relevant. And in that documentary, Nike offered whoever the star or the big basketball star was, I can't remember his name.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. They offered him some kind of a bajillion payout, and his mom said, no, I'd rather have a small percentage of the future sales of everything. And by doing that, he's making many times more than what he would have had if he'd had a one cash time.
Yeah, the highest paid athlete on Nike's payroll, and it exceeded what Nike projected it would.
Exactly.
The residuals are everything.
That's it. It's a long-term game. It's a long game, guys. This is what it is.
Lawrence, I was just going to say, can I mention something about the books that Lisa is so enthusiastic about.
Yeah.
And the book reading is so important. Those first two books tell the whole story of what we're trying to explain to people. And so if you have new team members that read those books, they're going to be able to meet the world with great confidence on those particular topics that are so important. But I will say I've just finished. What I decided was to implement it where I lead a group and I get a chat group up where you comment every day on the first 5 pages, next 5 pages. And I have to do a special shout out to Dee Dee Van Boeven, who is one of the most committed people I know. She writes her response every day of the week. And so she has stood out amongst many. But I have a group doing 21st century. I also have another group doing the compound effect, and I'm just about to start this group on the 5 levels, and we'll eventually move on to the cash flow quadrant. But the thing is, the new groups are being led by people who were within the other groups. So what you're doing is you're creating leadership by having them lead the next chat group.
Great, Jim. Susan Monson, I have to give her a shout out too. I see we're up on time, but she started it with our team, and I was glad she did because she has now stepped up to be the leader, and she's the reason I read those books. So I like your idea, Jim. That's a good one and so Susan is an example of that idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good.
That's right. And when you have your little meetings with your group and you discuss the book, the pages, the person who hasn't read it is going to be motivated to not fall behind because it's embarrassing if they have not done it. So the others will motivate the team to all come up. And the leader is the one that is in key to that.
So do you have will you have a session where you get on a phone call together? Because I haven't done that.
So that's how we do it was with having. I'll give you a quick example. When I first started, even the way was I used to give a book, Ogmandino. I used to give the greatest salesman in the world to everybody that joined, that became part of my team.
Mm-hmm.
Ogmandino, and we'd start reading that, and then we'd discuss it and say, okay, what did you get out of it? Discuss in your own words. And people it brings people out of their shell to be able to express themselves in a way where everybody is on the same level. And there's no guru there. It's just a question of let's discuss what we've read. And by doing that, it unites the team a little bit more. And it's discussing the book. And it's by a Zoom call or by a phone, by
Yeah. I'm
community.
going to have to overlay that over what we do. The one thing I like about the where you answer 3 questions every day is it actually disciplines people to be committed to a daily task.
Yes.
And it's one easy task that takes 15 minutes,
Mhm.
but it creates that consistency. Gee, the biggest word in our business, right?
Absolutely. Okay. We're on time here. I'm here if anybody wants, but I'm respectful of everybody else's time in case you've got to go anywhere. Anybody else got any comments about anything?
Great call, Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. And I want to remind everybody that this is National Nutrition Week. Actually, Nutrition Month. So,
But
yep. So make sure that you're utilizing that when you're talking to your customers this week.
make a noise about it. Nutrition Month. Thank you.
We're actually doing, there's an event, a community event this Saturday, and Ron and I will have a booth there. We'll be scanning.
So be provocative with it. Hey, do you know this is National Preventative Disease Month? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, it's Nutrition Month, #1 cause of preventable disease.
That's good.
Brilliant. That's where you get
Curiosity.
great minds thinking together and putting something together. Good job. Excellent. Be provocative about the Nutrition Month. Yeah. preventive medicine. How do you mean? Brilliant. Maybe get a little poster for each month that we're going to do something and put preventive medicine in that too. Because it's each whatever it is, whether it's nutrition or whether it's mindset or whether it's breast cancer or whatever the month is, we could add in there and that little quip about preventive medicine.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about.
Preventable disease month. There you go.
There you go. Every month is a preventable disease month.
There you go.
Voila. Just
Blessings.
come up with something brilliant here. Good job, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Carol, Jim, Lisa. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you,
Anybody
Lawrence.
got anything else? Okay. If not, then thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. And don't forget to invite people for the fly-in. It's April
30th, May 1st and 2nd.
April the 30th. Yeah. April the 30th, May 1 and 2. Thanks, guys. Blessings to everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Hopefully.
Lawrence.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Take care.
Stay warm.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.